Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education for Arlington Heights School District 25. Thank you for everyone for being here tonight. It's a little rainy and inclement weather, but we appreciate it. And I will share before we begin that our meetings are when the school board conducts its business and are open to the public. Because we are an elected governmental body, we can only take action by majority vote in a public meeting like this one. We welcome the public to listen and observe, and we have community input sections on the agenda if you have questions or comments on the business of the board. With that, I call the regular meeting to order. And Ms. O'Brien, when you're ready, could you please call the roll?
Neerman?
Here.
Tranter?
Here.
Jogi? Here. Scapalato?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Buchberger?
Here.
Cerniglia?
Here. Thank you, Lana. We are beginning this evening. It's a rare time, but we have no recognitions or presentations. But we do have an item that's critical to the, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance first. But let's hold that thought, everybody. If you would stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, and my apologies. Lana, I was so excited to get to this first item. Critical to the operation of this. That's right. Yes, critical to the operation of this elected body. So we are going to do a diligent community walkthrough. This is our new platform, but not to steal your thunder. Lana, when you're ready.
Okay, so as we've said, Board Docs, who's owned by Diligent, is not going to be utilized any longer. They are sunsetting the program. So a lot of districts are looking at different things to take over board, different online software programs to take over board management. And we looked at a few different ones that are popular and landed on the Diligent Community. It's a little more seamless for us since all of our past board agendas would be migrated over. So I've been doing training all summer, and we're live for tonight for the first meeting. So it's a nice program. So we'll just dig in here. I'm going to be showing the public view of the program. You all have the member view, so it's going to be a little different. So what anyone can do, you or community members as well, they'd go to our website, www.sd25.org, and I have it up here, and then menu, and then school board. And then you're going to go to agendas and live stream links, and we have a notice here. We've switched from Board Docs to Diligent Community for management. So what you're going to do is click here for board agendas. And this is the public view of the program. So it's a lot nicer looking than Board Docs, but it's simple too. As you can see, they have your home, calendar, and there's also a calendar over here where, as you can see from today, you can click on that and then you would get into the agenda. The nice thing about this too, community members can subscribe. So when a meeting is published and made public, a community member can go on, they can click on what they'd like to get alerted to. And then they put their email address, subscribe, and then they'll get an email and they would just verify the email. And then when we publish one of these meetings, they would get an email saying, District 25 published their October 21st board meeting. And then they could go to the website and see the agenda. So that's a nice feature that they have here. Also, meetings, to see any meetings, you just click on meetings, and you'll see our previous meetings from 2018 to 2025 can be found in this area here. We started with board docs, I think it was October of 2020 or 2018, and everything you will see in here. So, and then to the left here, regular meeting of the school board, so we can click on that. And that will get you to the agenda. If you click on video, that gets you to our YouTube link for the meeting. And then you can scroll down and you see the entire meeting, all the different areas. And then when there are attachments, people can click on the attachments and see that. Again, this is the public view, so it's going to be a little bit different for board members for their view. And it's a pretty simple program to navigate. The support is good as well. Does anyone have any questions since you've been utilizing it? Okay. What I suggest is maybe play around with the program, as you will have different tools for your agendas that you can utilize for yourself. And then if you have any questions after tonight, feel free to give me a call and I can work you through it and we will go on from there. Thanks.
Anisha, did you have a
Yeah, I had
comment?
a comment.
Yeah.
Lana, thanks for doing the homework on it. I really like this format. I really like, it's cleaner. For some reason, it's just more easy to navigate. So I appreciate it. Thanks for doing all the homework.
And Lana, I want to echo that. There's so much that we know goes behind the scenes to make it look so easy to those of us on the outside. So really, thank you. That's a big transition. We really appreciate it.
Lana, kudos for the presentation, and I have one question just to ensure that the board understands their level of editing. There might be a fear, because it's a new program, a new platform for them. Is it possible that they could delete something when they're playing around with their access and looking at different documents? Is it possible that a board member could delete something?
I don't believe so. I don't believe the board has editing rights. Now, you can maybe delete something in your own view, or, because I know you can highlight, underline, add notes, add
Yes.
different things.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can really delete anything.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. Thank you
yeah,
for
I think you're
confirming.
good.
But this is significantly different than board docs in that they will have the ability to edit, highlight, write within their view,
Exactly.
but it won't delete it from the system.
No.
It won't delete it from public view.
No, not
Perfect.
at all, not at all.
Thank you.
You're good with that.
Lana, I have one question.
I wasn't.
I have one question to piggyback off that. If I do write notes in here, does it save it? It's done just for me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it only saves it for you. That is, it's your view, it's your login,
Okay,
so it just saves it for you.
great, thank you.
Thank you, Lana.
Okay, we'll move on to board communications, and we begin with board member updates. Is there anyone that'd like to start this month with updates?
I'll start. Last night, I had the privilege of going to the Northwest Cook Region PTA launch event, which our Arlington Heights Council of PTAs, so all of our elementary and middle school PTAs, belong to the Arlington Heights Council, which belongs to the Midwest Cook Region, and so they were celebrating all of the PTAs in Arlington Heights, Palatine, Schaumburg, and giving out awards for all of the excellence that our PTAs and all of the hard work that they've done over the past year. And every single one of our elementary school PTAs got an award last night, so I'm so proud of them on either increasing their membership or for the amazing activities they've planned, for making sure that all students feel included. And it was just a great night and very celebratory. And as always, we're just so proud of our PTAs and all of the hard work they do.
Thank you, Melissa. Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Yes, Deb.
the last few weeks, I've had the pleasure to visit with Dr. K and Melissa a handful of our schools, and it is such a pleasure. It's such a joy to go in and see a few of them at a time, view our teachers doing the new curriculum, view our kindergartners with their first year at school, and going in the morning with several of our board members to the South Middle School variety show, talent show. Just really incredible to see. Everything is so inclusive. The kids are doing a fabulous job of bravely showcasing their talents in many different ways. So kudos to West Skim, did I pronounce that correctly, Dr. K? For organizing, creating, and encouraging these kids to be themselves. It was the first talent show that I've seen, and I was wildly impressed. Also, Saturday, the 11th of October, I just wanted to point out and thank several of our Windsor dads who are part of a Green Dads band. They performed at a charity event for Good Neighbors Network to give back to kids in need in our community. And Melissa and I were there to enjoy their music and their talent, and several other parents, community members, teachers, staff came out to benefit children in need. And we truly enjoyed the music of Green Dads, the Windsor Dads, playing the music. And the last thing I wanted to share, Greg and I had an opportunity to attend a lunch webinar with IASB on the new standards of student proficiency, which I really wanted to hear more about because I was concerned about changes and what does that mean to our kids and our teachers. And there were a few key points, takeaways that I thought was really important that I think the community should know. And one of them being really understanding the difference between proficiency for students and if they're at grade level. Proficiency is the policy construct that compares the student's academic achievement to that fixed aspiration standard. That's created by the state. At grade level is the empirical construct. It compares the student's academic achievement to previous years. So what we want to be looking at is they're at grade level. Are they there? Are they growing personally? And not really dwelling over where they're at with proficiency when the state changes the level and dwelling on that. So I appreciated that enlightenment. And when we're evaluating our district, our schools, our program performance, IASB really reminding us, use student growth and don't worry so much about the proficiency. Student growth is the most meaningful thing. Knowing that as an educator, but really being reminded as a board member not to kind of dwell on proficiency when we look at their records was important.
Thank you, Deb. Others? All right, well, thank you. I just want to amplify what you were sharing, Deb. That same takeaway, so I won't go over it again, the proficiency versus grade level. But the presentation was, the presenter was Dr. John Gatta, who's the CEO of ECRA, so we're familiar with that organization. And hearing him talk, so personable, I mean, we're on a Zoom, but very personable and made everything very accessible to those of us that are not data scientists, right, Deb? So I commend it to all of you. You know that those webinars are available on IESB's site. It is 100% worth your time, even if he did some Q&A at the end, but even if you caught the first 20 to 30 minutes, it would be worth it. The one other takeaway I wanted to mention is, and it impacts how we look at this data, is because these proficiency standards change. As Deb said, it's a policy construct. So what do we do with that? And the pro tip that he gave all the members watching was that we can ask the question of what is our district's trends over time in academic achievement using state or national percentiles, because percentiles are consistent regardless of what happened to the proficiency standards 10 years ago, 5 years ago, this year. So it's something that it's a filter we can apply and look at that. And yeah, so they just give that neutral reference. So again, highly recommended. Yeah. And Anisha, did you have something you would like to
I'm
add?
going to add it. No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the updates so far. I love the lens that comes from our different board members and the perspectives, from a Good Neighbors Network executive, on the board, being on the board and having that non-for-profit lens and the educator lens and the PTA lens, and now bringing it all alive on our board. So thanks for those updates. I've been thinking about, kind of the power of extracurriculars, right? And really, as a board member and as a mom as well, really appreciating how, as board members, we have the honor of watching our students in action across so many corners of our district, right? Where we see our students on the stage, on the field, in STEM innovation spaces, in gyms, and everywhere in between. And what I continue to appreciate and see again and again is that extracurriculars are not extra at all. Like, they're essential at these spaces, as these spaces give students connection and confidence and that true sense of belonging that's so important to all of us. And so I truly want to thank our coaches and staff and volunteers and our students for making all this like shiny glamour, courage so possible, right? And so this past month, with my colleagues, my other colleagues were laughing at us because we thought when we went to a variety show, we thought we went to a rock concert. And so when we're sitting there, like truly, the variety show was something else. I'm just so amazed by the courage of our students and all the courage that goes into being on the stage. And again, to Mr. Skim and his whole crew of volunteers, staff, and students, a huge thank you. And I saw this again at a Science Olympiad in action, right? And a huge thanks to Mrs. Marusek for rallying an invested group of parents and community volunteers for our district's award-winning Science Olympiad, including the community members. I didn't know this term, but you and I are learning something always. But one of the community members had shared he doesn't have children. He never has had children, but he has been volunteering at Science Olympiad for 30 years. And he said, well, I'm one of the UAVs. And I was like, wow, what is that? I know a lot of acronyms, but I didn't know that one. So it's an unpaid adult volunteer. So he's been at Science Olympiad 30 years with these kids. And now my son has, the honor of working with him as well. So truly remarkable. Like, our teachers are not only in the classroom, it takes a lot of organization to get these parents in and consistent volunteers for 30 years, and all this fundraising and everything that goes with that. So truly, that sense of belonging that I'm seeing in the extracurricular, along with all my colleagues here, is remarkable, and I'm just so grateful. So thanks to everybody for making this magic happen in our district.
Thank you, Anisha.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to our legislative report, and Kevin, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, at our last meeting, I had shared a call to action from EdRed for board members and superintendents and administrators to reach out to their legislators to express support for Senate Bill 243, which would create flexibility for school districts responding to FOIA requests that they believe may have been generated through AI. So there's now a 5-day human verification process in place. I'm not quite sure exactly how that works. It's probably a little more elaborate than just checking the "I'm not a robot" box on a website, but that bill did pass the Senate unanimously and is headed to the governor's desk for signing. So they wanted to express their gratitude to all in the community who reached out and supported that bill. Moving on, yesterday, I had the privilege of attending the annual Ed Red Kickoff Luncheon in Wheeling. Members Buchberger and Jogi were also in attendance at that event. It involved an opportunity to network with other board members, administrators, and legislators in our community, enjoy a lunch with them where we were able to sit with people from other districts and lawmakers and talk about education while enjoying lunch together. And then Ed Red shared their official priority focuses for the 25-26 school year. They usually have 3 priorities. This year they are the world language graduation requirement, MCAT funding, especially for tier 2 and 3 districts involving transportation and special education, and law enforcement procedures off campus. So they're looking to have kind of a, I would say, kind of a symmetry between how law enforcement interacts with students in situations, whether they are on or off school campuses. So those are their priorities this year. After that was shared, we had the opportunity to experience a Q&A panel with Deputy Governor Martin Torres, ISB Chair Dr. Stephen Isoya, Senator Adrian Johnson, and Representative Will Davis. The Q&A was moderated by Jennifer Tempest-Bova, and it included questions about topics such as the future of education, continuing evidence-based funding, artificial intelligence and technology as they apply to education in Illinois, changes to the Department of Education and how that affects us at the state level, and the legislators' visions for greater focus on student needs in the future. The next Ed Red meeting, regular monthly meeting, will take place on November 6th at 6 p.m. That will be virtual. That's a change from previous years. They move meetings to evenings to allow more members to attend than were able to in the past when they were held usually on Friday afternoons. And then I just want to ask Stacy if she has anything in addition to share. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And we're going to go to the ISB COSBA report. Nisha, when you're ready.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. You know, going along with what Kevin shared as far as just this importance of advocacy and why us being at the table and having this collaboration with our legislators is so important. With ISB, I just got an email today from Kristen Fitzgerald, who's ISB Senior Director of Government Relations, and she was with us in DC and was one of the people truly prepping us to go into these meetings. And I got this email from her, and I wanted to read it a little bit out to you because it really demonstrated to me, and hopefully to all of you as well, the power of our collective advocacy. So in her email, you know, she stated kind of some of the things that we've done in DC and how that's already turning into fruition. So she mentioned in her email, she said, you know, Anisha, I wanted to let you know that after your meeting with Representative Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, he co-sponsored HR 2598, which is the idea of, you know, the idea of full funding act, which is huge. So this particularly is timely with the Act's 50th anniversary coming up next. So for me, I was just like, it was so important to be like, oh, something we did, you know, just take the time to go and have these conversations. Because sometimes we feel like, oh no, nothing's going to change, or when I put a witness slip in, it's not going to change, or when I meet with my representative, things are not going to change. But to know that, hey, it really does make a difference. And that's what they were saying at Ed Red yesterday as well, that when we meet with our legislators and have this connection, that it takes kind of that collaborative partnership to make policy kind of get into action. So I thought that was really important. And then to add to that, she stated how in our meetings when we were, you know, when I met with the congressman and with Senator Durbin, we lobbied for mental health services in general and the school-based mental health services grant. And she wanted me to know and share with all of you too that that these grants have now been reopened. You know, so this is like real action happening. So I shared that with Dr. Kay as well, that if our school district wants to apply for the grants, now they're open until October 29th. So I just want to, I'm so proud of the work that we're doing, and, you know, knowing our Congress people and knowing our legislators and meeting with them and picking up the phone and, you know, spending 2 hours, 3 hours with them yesterday, that it does make a difference. So that's the first part of my report. My second part, as far as an update from ISB, is that tomorrow, Wednesday, October 22nd, and I'm saying this date for myself so I don't forget, as a North Cook Division meeting at Forest View Education Center at Go-Bird, on that right around the corner here, 5:30 p.m. So hopefully if you're attending, you've already let Lana know, so she can kindly make arrangements for us. So if you're like me, sometimes you may forget to do that. So I want to truly, on that note, I want to thank Lana and Dr. K for going above and beyond to make arrangements for us to ensure that we are effectively outreaching and collaborating for the sake of our students. Because there's a lot of us, and we're running around in many different directions. So thank you, Lana, for always making arrangements and putting things front and center for us. And at this North Cook meeting that we're going to be having tomorrow, it's all the North Cook school board members. As you know, for our new board members, maybe it's the first one that they will be attending. It's pretty cool. So we're all split up at ISB in divisions, and this is going to be the North Cook division. So folks from Schaumburg all the way through Evanston, all these board members come together. They usually have, there'll be a speaker, and then there'll be different events that happen, different things business-wise that happen. And one of the things that will happen tomorrow is the North Cook election of officers. So every division has officers. So if you ever would like to jump in, we would love for you to sit at that table as well. And so tomorrow, North Cook Division has put together a slate which will be voted upon at tomorrow's meeting. And as your governing board representative, I will vote on behalf of our district, as each district has one vote. And nominations from the floor with the explicit approval of the candidate are accepted. So it's not too late if you still want to throw in your hat. So a simple voice vote is taken for uncontested positions. So I will share with you, board members, that board members from surrounding areas, I'm going to mention the slate in a minute, but ISB and IASB leadership is really important because as new board members have already learned, there's a lot of learning that happens. And so for the leadership does matter because at the end of the day, it impacts every single student in our district. So there has been an ask from member area board members that ISB is transparent in their nomination processes. And so we always want to make sure that, we're kind of giving our voice and so forth. And later on, I'm going to tell you about how ISB actually wants your voice in a survey, which I think I sent that to you. I forwarded that email to you about the ISB's strategic direction, so you can give more thought and provide your input as well organizationally, like what is the best way. And you guys have been on different organizations, maybe PTA or ABC Foundation, that you can kind of weigh into what do good organizational practices look like to build trust across the organization. So having said that, tomorrow's proposed slate officers, I'm going to list them, and what I need from you is direction to say, are we on board with these slated folks, or are we not on board? So as far as a yay or a nay from, that I will share on behalf of all of you. So the director that's been proposed is Alva Kreutzer, who is she serves on High School District 214's board. The chair has been selected as Bill Harrison, who serves on Wheeling 21's board. Vice chair is Mark Chow from Skokie 69. Resolution chair will be Wenda Hunt from Palatine 15. Director at large is Pat Savage Williams from Evanston. Director at large Matthew Doubleday from Parkridge SD 64. And Director at large Peter Glawitzky from Glenbrook. And then Director at large is Shana Yetman from Golf 67. So all I need is, are we good with those folks? Any reservations?
So,
Yes.
Anisha, maybe if I can make a suggestion to the board, just to keep this in the affirmative. So maybe if there's suggestions for other candidates, we could take that here, and then we could discuss, but if not, then I
Liz
think.
already gave me a thumbs up.
Oh, you already went there. Awesome. No,
No.
thank you for
Yeah,
asking.
yeah. Are we, so tomorrow, are we good with me saying yes to these names? So, and if you have other suggestions? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess
Okay.
where I'm going with this is I just want, especially with new board members and so forth, just for you guys to know that there's always an opportunity and my personal encouragement to put your hat in the ring. So it's always good to do that. So, okay, I will go ahead and vote yes for all of us. A last piece that I've already mentioned via email to you folks, ISB has their strategic plan, and so that due date is by November 30th. So definitely please do look at it. It is important, and it is our association. We pay dues, so having this strong umbrella organization, well-run, supports all of us and our students. So fill that out by November 30th, and I'm happy to talk through any questions you may have about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Anisha. All right, Liz, I think we're ready to move on to NSSEO.
Yes, thank you. So NSSEO is still working on solidifying the articles. Our goal is that at the November 5th meeting, we'll be able to move the proposed articles for me to bring back to us at our next meeting for us to vote on. So there will be a draft that Brian will hopefully share in the Friday memo for us. If we have any questions in between, I can get those answered for you. Up until now, we haven't had any extra feedback. Is there anything that's come up in the past couple weeks that you're thinking about? Okay. So that's what's coming up. Also very interesting is at the last meeting, we had the SLOIC, the Sunrise Lake Outdoor Education Center annual report. And I have a couple of stats that I wanted to share. I don't know how many of you have been able to get out to Sunrise Lake. It is an amazing outdoor education facility that as a member district, we have access to. You as board members can go at any point in time. You can take a tour. You can bring your families. It's really amazing. A lot of our PTAs and school groups use SLOIC. It's amazing, but we as a member district at Sunrise Lake host 10,000 plus students per year. It's amazing. There's 4,000 plus staff members who come through, 1,026 groups, and 448 programs. So as member districts, we're really helping those numbers increase and causing growth by bringing our schools to take part in activities there. We have school groups, scouting groups, we have corporations that come through, all sorts of team building. So it's really neat. I've gotten the opportunity to go as a parent. Please, at any point in time, I can set you up with a tour if we want to go and do a high ropes course, maybe. Or maybe have some coffee under the trees. That would be okay, too. They have fishing and archery. But on November 1st, they're hosting a Harvest Fest, which is just a really nice, relaxed kind of pumpkin patch situation. After the meeting, I can share more information, but my family and I will be there to check that out. It really is an amazing space, and the more I hear about it, the prouder I am that we are a part of providing so many people with these great opportunities.
Great. Thank you, Liz. All right. Now is the time on our agenda we set aside for community input. If a member of the public wishes to address any item on tonight's agenda, we ask that you please complete one of the blue forms provided on the table by the door and hand the card to Lon O'Brien. Please note on your card if you wish to speak now at the first community input opportunity, or if you would wish to speak later, should we have a second community input opportunity. My understanding is we don't have any blue slips at this time. So we're going to continue on to the communications from our district partners. We start with PTA, and I know Dr. Kay, you have a report.
Yeah, I'm happy to report on behalf of President Erin Lekomsky. I had the pleasure of being with her last night at an event that she wants me to mention here this evening. The Northwest Cook Region PTA hosted the annual meeting yesterday evening with lots of excitement. The event had 83 of the region's local units in attendance, plus many support staff and admin from member districts. Local units were awarded for programming achievement and membership increases this past school year, 24-25. Dryden received a Stronger Together Award for the revitalization and overhaul of their family dance event with lots of new and inclusive activities. Patton and Greenbrier were awarded Community Connector Awards for their work reaching out to the Arlingtonites community, both supporting local service agencies and businesses with their programs. Westgate and Windsor both were awarded Bridge Builder Awards for innovative staff support initiatives and inclusivity programming. Many schools were rewarded for the number of members gained for this last school year. Every year, each local unit is given membership targets by the Illinois PTA based on enrollment data. Dryden has increased by more than 50 members and Westgate by more than 40. Ivy Hill saw a large percentage increase and has now obtained silver level membership. Olive, Patton, Thomas, Westgate, and Windsor were recognized in the bronze level membership category. 7 of our schools received a shout out for being of assistance to other region units with their programs and vision. In addition, Aaron Lekomsky was voted in to serve on the Northwest Cook nominating committee this school year. The next Arlingtonites Council of PTA's meeting will be for unit presidents only, and that is hosted on November 13th. Respectfully submitted, Aaron Lekomsky.
Great. That's all great news. Thank you. Yeah. All right. And thank you, Aaron, for all your work leading that organization. We're now going to ABC 25 Foundation. And Dr. K, do we have a report this month? Do you know?
I don't have an official report,
Oh,
but
okay.
I have been in a lot of communication, and I attended their meeting last week. They have been heavily involved with doing a lot of grants. I have to report that I haven't even shared it with teachers yet or administrators. They had a total of 61 completed grants, so now those are going through the review process. I would anticipate some may not get funded, but I know the committee is really looking forward to reviewing all 61 with the hopes that they all get awarded a partial or full grant. So while I don't have a formal report, I know they'd want me to share that. And I know they have a special event coming up as well. I don't have all the details, but I will look for them to update. I want to say it is in January, but now I'm just guessing. It is the Top Golf event, and then they have another one for students that is on a day off that they're hosting at South, and I wish I had all the details, but I don't. On November 11th, we'll make sure we do.
All right. Thank you, Dr. K. And I'm looking around and I don't see Allison Berg. So are we going without this month on ATA report?
I have not directly spoken to Allison, but I can only imagine the challenge of preparing for all of the conferences coming up is the reason that she would not be here this evening on behalf of the ATA. We are excited about conferences with parents. It's all day Thursday and then Friday morning, and I would imagine that is where Allison is preparing for conferences coming up.
That makes sense. All right. We'll look forward to seeing her next month, possibly. So now we've arrived at the consent agenda, and this is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve those items on the consent agenda as follows. A, personnel report and addendum to personnel report. B, treasurer's report. C, invoices. D, fixed asset disposal report. E, special meeting and special closed session meeting minutes of September 16th, 2025. F, regular and closed session meeting minutes of September 30th, 2025. And G, board bill.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. Lana, when you're ready, could you please call the vote?
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And we're going to move on to the business and finance section of the agenda. We have an action item for benefits renewal. With that, can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve those items. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. I apologize. Give me just a second. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the resolution for the continuation of various insurance coverages for the 2026 calendar year.
Thank you, Kevin. And a second, please. Thank you, Anisha. Stacy, when you're ready, please.
So this year, we are again, we're presented with a fairly substantial increase, although not as substantial as some of my colleagues are seeing in their districts, but increase in our insurance premium renewal. Healthcare trends and costs continue to rise in the double digits. Some other areas that there's a lot of inflation in healthcare is in the pharmaceutical area. Every other commercial on TV nowadays is pharmaceuticals, GLP-1s, cell and gene therapy, immunosuppressants, antivirals, biologic, all kinds of new drugs that are out there that are very expensive. We have a rising population, aging population, not necessarily in District 25, but across the country, which causes overall healthcare costs to raise as well. And there's also a healthcare labor shortage, which results in additional or higher increased costs for healthcare. As our committee discusses, there's two ways we pay for benefits. We either keep our benefits the same and incur the cost in our premiums that we pay every month, or we try to minimize what we pay every month in premiums and adjust the benefits to cause more of those costs to be paid out of pocket by the employee. So it's a trade-off. It's either every month out of your paycheck, or it's if you go to the doctor, you spend a little more, but you're not having that same amount then come out of your paycheck. The insurance committee met initially with the renewal presentation because we were discussing some, a large number of changes to our plan. We also met with the ATA Executive Board. Ultimately, we need to, any changes that are going to be recommended by the insurance committee have to be first authorized by the ATA. So we have done that, finalized all of our recommended changes, and that's what we have presented here to you tonight. Things the committee looks at when we look at our renewal is when we look at out-of-pocket costs, what percent of our employees are meeting their deductible? What percent of our employees are meeting their out-of-pocket maximum costs? And then we look at what's the impact of raising those costs, a couple $100. So for example, for our family PPO plan, total maximum out-of-pocket costs will go up $1,100 if you use the insurance. If you don't use the insurance or have minimal costs, you'll pay up to your deductible or maybe over that. But that benefit change increasing out-of-pocket costs for $1,100 was a trade-off for reducing the increase in the family premium that employees would pay by $1,138. So one way or another, it's going to be paid. It's just a question of, does it get paid every month in premium, whether you go to the doctor at all that year or not, or do we save it for everybody overall that takes that plan and then it shifts some of that cost onto those that use it. So those are considerations that are made by the committee in terms of going into looking at the recommended changes, which are detailed out in your board packet. We are also looking at increasing our individual stop loss. As some of the board is aware, I'm not sure all of our board members are aware, we are self-insured for health insurance, which means that we don't just buy a plan that has a premium and pay that premium. We actually get to create what our plan covers. That's done by the insurance committee in terms of the different benefit levels, coverage levels. And then between our broker and Blue Cross Blue Shield, they actuarially back into, okay, if these are your coverages and these are the number of people you have that take family insurance and single insurance, then what is the level of premium we need to raise to cover what we project will be your total claims for the year? So they back into a premium to cover claims plus their administrative costs. What we do then is we do charge those premiums. The board pays their share. The employee, we withhold the employee's share from their check, but we deposit it right back into our self-insurance fund. So all those premiums stay with us until we get a bill from Blue Cross Blue Shield that's based on whatever claims they paid out that month. So the goal is, in the long run, that your, and we do have some reserves in our self-insurance fund. They haven't really changed significantly over time, which just means we've done a pretty good job at balancing over the years our premium levels with our expected claims. The individual stop loss simply means in the case that one individual person has a catastrophic event, a cancer, neonatal need for a newborn infant, that isn't a cost that's going to be ongoing indefinitely, but it's a one-time thing, typically, then our plan will cover up to that stop loss level, and then we have a secondary insurance company who will pick up the costs. So we're insuring our own plan. We're recommending increasing that stop loss level from 135 to 145. It would take us over 20 members hitting that level for that not to be a savings for us, on top of what we already have hitting that level, which we don't anticipate. So we do believe there will be a savings there, and that is factored into these premiums. And then finally, we are engaging with, it's called AECRX, to actually audit our pharmacy claims. They're projecting a net savings even after their own costs of about $180,000 to the plan. And what they'll do is Blue Cross Blue Shield, when a pharmacy runs a prescription for our employees, it should show up whether buying that through our insurance is less expensive than using a discount pharmacy card like a GoodRx or something. And a pharmacist should tell us then, oh, you'd be better off, when you're at the window, you'd be better off buying this under GoodRx than your plan. This company will actually go in and audit all of our prior year pharmacy claims and make sure, in fact, Blue Cross Blue Shield did that. And in their findings historically, they do find that those are not always processed exactly right, and they do, as I said, predict that they'll net save us about $180,000. So we have built that into this renewal as well. In terms of our vision insurance, we're under a 2-year rate guarantee. Our dental insurance, there's very minor changes in costs. The budget for overall health insurance for the board share of the cost is $9.7 million, which is, I think, 4.5% increase over last year budget-wise, but 6.1% increase over last year's actual, which makes sense since the board, A, has a 6% cap of what they'll pick up, but that also includes changes in the membership of, we had people retire, we have new employees, some people switch single to family. That's all built into that, and it's still just above a 6% increase over last year.
All right.
4.5% over last year's budget, 6.1% over last year's actual, and that's due to changes in enrollment.
Any questions for Stacy from the board?
Stacy, I'm just looking at the spreadsheet on the insurance rates, and I just want to make sure I understand. Under medical with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, the board cost is actually 50% greater than the employee cost. Am I reading that right?
Are you looking at,
I'm looking
Sorry.
at just the attached.
so, are you looking at single or I mean, for,
So for family, if the employee per paycheck is paying $459,
correct.
the board is paying $824.
Correct. That is typically about, the board is typically 2/3 of the cost. By contract with the ATA, at a minimum, employees have to pay 3% of the single premium and 1/3 of the family premium. So we're right close to that. I think we're 35.65 versus 33.67. But at a minimum, employees have to pay 33%.
Thank you, Deb. Other questions, even if clarifications, or? Okay. Well, thank you, Stacy, for walking us through all the ins and outs. It's clear that you, the insurance committee, definitely doing your due diligence to balance all the concerns, both, the financial responsibility for the board, but also for our employees, to making sure that they have the benefits they need as well. So thank you.
And the one thing I will also highlight, if you're looking at the rate sheet, while our typical PPO HMO are more expensive plans, our other two options, the HMO Blue Advantage and the high deductible PPO, are no cost in premiums to our employees who take single coverage, and about one is 25%. The Blue Advantage HMO is 25% of the cost of the regular PPO, and the high deductible plan is about 67% of the cost. So there are less expensive options for those employees who might that might better suit their medical health needs.
Great. Thank you, Stacy. Lana, when you're ready, if you could please call the vote.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. We're moving on now to the superintendent report. And so, Dr. K, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, appreciate it. I want to circle back to the ABC 25 event that I wanted to highlight. The date is actually January 19th, so I did get the right month. So on January 19th, they are hosting a wonderful event that is called the ABC 25 Anti-Bullying Campaign, and it's hosted on Monday, January 19th. It currently is, and will, I anticipate, a non-attendance day for students. So they're building on the opportunity for kids to have an activity at the school, and this will be hosted at South. And once again, anti-bullying campaign. I believe there's going to be 3 different presentations, one for primary, one for intermediate, and one for middle school, although they won't deny anybody from attending based on the age, but I think the presentation that they are using, thank you, is geared towards a certain age level. But they are very excited to welcome kids at any time, but they will in their marketing identify primary, intermediate, and middle school focused. And then we also heard about the ABC 25's fundraiser at the Top Golf event, and that is on March 15th, Sunday, March 15th from 1 to 4. My awareness was they wanted to finish all of the grants and then start to focus on pushing the event for Top Golf. But the date is there. I can see the marketing is already on their website, Sunday, March 15th, if you want to mark it on your calendar. Next update is the strategic plan coming due this Friday. If you didn't see an email this morning, it had a very catchy subject. The goal was to try and get attention of parents to not only nominate themselves for being a part of the strategic plan refresh team, but they could also nominate their children. I also am asking the board to fill out the survey to make sure I know who is available and who's interested in participating. The goal is to have representatives of students, staff, us as management, including other administrators, and family members. So we will close the gate on Friday, and then we will notify people that we are interested in having them participate and just reconfirm with those individuals that they are able to make that commitment. So by next week, we should know who is participating, and they'll get the official invite to participate, including you guys. Now, a visual celebration. We haven't promoted this yet, so I'm officially excited to kick off our National Principals Month. And as we celebrate this month, I want to take a moment to recognize and thank the incredible school leaders who guide, inspire, and support our students, staff, and community each and every day. Leadership in District 25 is defined not just by expertise, but by heart. And our building administrators, both the principals and the assistant principals, lead by both. So I am truly grateful for the dedication, care, and vision each of them brings to our schools and our district family. I didn't want to invite them here because I saw many of them at our event last night, and I also know they have a late night on Thursday. So verbally, I will be celebrating, and then we will kick off our social media campaign for them. But I want to start with each school and recognize all of them individually, starting with Dryden. Our new principal, Jessica Martinson, and assistant principal, Dr. Beth Glass. Jessica and Beth, their calm confidence and commitment to collaboration create a joyful and connected learning environment. They lead with steadiness and heart, making Dryden a true neighborhood school where everyone feels welcome. Thanks, Jessica and Beth. Next are Greenbrier Gators, Principal Donna Bingaman and Assistant Principal Annette Peebles. Donna and Annette, their leadership is anchored in deep reflection and genuine care for people. They've built a community that celebrates curiosity, relationships, and continuous growth. Thank you, Gators. Next, Ivy Hill. The Eagles, Principal Scott Case and Assistant Principal Monique Wadzinski. Scott and Monique, their instructional leadership and ability to empower staff to innovate continue to move Ivy Hill forward. They balance high expectations with grace and empathy. Thanks, Eagles. I had the benefit, just a side note, to be part of their Diwali celebration today, which was a fantastic celebration where the entire student body and staff were there. A great event that I'm sure we'll see on social media today, too. Next, our Olive Mary Stitt Owls, Principal Aaron Davis and Assistant Principal Julia Pemberton. Aaron and Julia, with their shared leadership and commitment to students' social and emotional growth, shine through daily. The OMS staff and students thrive under their dedication to inclusion, learning, and community partnership. Thank you, Owls. Next, Patton Elementary School. Our Panthers, led by Principal Ellie Chin and Assistant Principal Kelly Vignoki. Ellie and Kelly have a thoughtful approach to problem solving, and their belief in every child's potential are evident in the culture and care and curiosity at Patton. Thank you, Panthers. Next is our South team, led by Principal Steve Prorock, Associate Principal Sherry Rosen, and Associate Principal Aubrey DeMuth. Two of them are new this year. Steve, Sherry, and Aubrey, your partnership demonstrates the best of collaborative leadership. They model respect, trust, and shared accountability, core values of our school district. Thomas Middle School, led by Principal Lori Namowitz, and three associate principals, Greg Cadle, Jeremy Fisher, and Allie Yoder. And yes, I got them all, good. Lori, Allie, Greg, and Jeremy, their leadership team exemplifies energy and commitment. They balance tradition and innovation beautifully, creating a dynamic and supportive learning community at Thomas. Two more schools to go. Westgate Wolverines, led by Principal Dr. Ann Buck and Assistant Principal Kara Giacomin-Ferris. Ann and Kara, their steady leadership and deep understanding of systems brings consistency and clarity, allowing both staff and students to flourish. Thank you, Wolverines, AKA this year known as West Great. And last but not least, our Windsor team, led by Principal Lindsay Anastasio and Assistant Principal Melanie Soprano. Lindsay and Melanie, their positivity and relentless focus on student and staff well-being make Windsor a place where excellence and joy meet every day. I am thrilled to kick off not only the month of celebrating our principals, we will also be doing a road trip to acknowledge our principals and assistant principals with a really nice mug that is a Yeti mug. For us, that's a big deal. So we're excited to drop those off on our road trip between now and the end of the conferences on Friday afternoon. So in closing, to all of our building leaders, their influence reaches far beyond our schools. They inspire teachers, empower students, and strengthen our entire Arlington Heights community. Together, we live our vision together today to transform tomorrow. So thank you, building leaders, and I am excited to continue celebrating them throughout the month. Next month is your turn. All right, my next section is going to be the Freedom of Information Report. We had 5 FOIAs this past month. All responses were provided following the required timeline. Letter C for my report is the IASB resolutions. I will talk a little bit about the resolutions and see if Dr. Jogi has anything to add. I don't know if any of you brought it back with you. I put it on your table last month, the resolutions. There is a visual that we have used in the past that is provided by IASB, and I'm going to hand them to you. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. So this visual shows what the resolutions are that we will be asking one of our board members to represent us and speak on our behalf. This document is what we want to collect from each of you so we know how you individually feel. You don't do this right now. You will do this between now and November 11th, and that's when we will give it to Dr. Jogi, assuming she's our nominated representative on behalf of the board. And there's 2 sections, as you can see on this document. There's local school board delegate direction, the resolutions, and there's only one, the school bus safety funding. So as you read what this is, you'll want to have an opinion about, yes, you want to support the recommendation, which the resolution committee is saying please do. On behalf of IASB, they're saying please adopt that recommendation. But we have the option to put no for whatever reasons we have. And then the second portion, which has a lot more items, there are 10 items, is the local school board delegate direction, the constitutional amendments. So similar to what we're doing with NSSEO and all the articles we're looking at changing, this is a very similar experience with the constitutional amendments for IASB. So the packet that was provided last board meeting has, I would say, a great reference for all of these for you to wrap your mind around. What's the purpose? What's the intent? And visually, I'll just show you one of the pages so you can see. I'll start with Article 2, membership, which is in the second section, item number 1. If you haven't seen it, they use color to guide our direction really, really well. And in the red is the new language they're proposing or language they're removing. And at the end of this section, they write in all blue language really what the purpose is and how this will help support IASB in the future. It's not telling you what you should vote, but it is saying if they were voting, they would support it, they would adopt it, they're recommending it. But you can form your own opinion by reading that blue language. It's like the Cliff Notes, for those that remember what those are, of the constitutional recommendation. So between now and next board meeting, the request would be you look through these and form your own opinion. You can use the document I just handed out, and that's what you would then give to Dr. Jogi. Anisha, did you want to add anything to?
Thank you, Dr. Kay, for doing the more challenging part of the explanation. So yeah, no, like Dr. Kay said, it's all there. What I've really appreciated about our board is our kind of critical eye. Of course, does the board of directors recommend what they think they should adopt, but then we should also keep in mind that they're very actively putting these together, right? So I like that we're going in and really looking at again, from an organizational lens, and I think we should be really confident in the fact that we have, we have really good, effective governance strategies that we could lend our own eye to say, hey, does this really work? Or is there a better way of doing things? I'll give you one example. On page 7, the terms of office, I know our board has been really, really not careful, but the consideration, because what ISB is saying as far as the terms of office, they're saying it's 1 year now, and they're proposing that it be 2 years. So I want you to give it thought as far as, hey, on our own board, we've said, I've been a proponent of 2-year terms as, for officer positions versus 1 year, but this board spoke really well as far as, hey, no, it's, let's look at 1 year. And my thing for ISB officer, it's a very, it is a very intensive role, because in that 1 year, the president and vice president and the officers go up and down the state of Illinois, and it's very rigorous. They're on the road about 50, I don't know, they quoted a number of days. And so I know from here even to the southern tip of Illinois is like 5-6 hours, right? I think it is a very cumbersome role. So in that case, my own individual opinion would be to keep it at 1 year. But, and I want to read it more, but that I've been thinking about this one for ISB. So I just, the ask, like Dr. K said, is really kind of look into it and give it your own organizational lens, because there's still, there's a lot of things that they're ironing out. Maybe this is I won't go into that right now. But just look into it. I think it's important. I think there's a lot of things that could be done more effectively at the IASB level. And then this is not just, this is something that our surrounding board members and when you go to III, there's a lot of great suggestions. So I think they come from board members. So have a look at it and come back with your suggestions. And if you lose this sheet that Dr. K has given us, it is at the back of this booklet as well, before the appendix page. It's right here as well. And since this one is kind of organizational structure and effectiveness, I think your perspectives will be really important.
Dr. K, if it's okay, can I jump in? And I would like to lean on Dr. Jogi and Dr. K, but this process, we've evolved in this process, so if we could maybe pull back the curtain for our new members, but also reminders for us experienced folks. So first I wanted to call out that there is a presentation, a webinar. I think
Yes.
it's coming up. Is that right?
No, it happened last
It
week, and there's a
happened.
recording of it.
Thank
and
you.
I will, if it helps, I'm happy to forward
Sure.
it, because I have the recording that came into my inbox.
So that's regarding those, if you'd like a deeper dive. And I just wanted to even speak to the voting piece. So we are going to share these, as you both said, with Anisha. She will compile the results and share those results with us.
Yeah.
And then Anisha will take whatever we decide as a board as one vote to the delegate assembly. And then each district gets one vote, and that's how ISB decides. Now, this year is different because this is a constitutional amendments, but if we're talking about the resolutions at the top, it doesn't mean that the state will adopt school bus safety standards as described. It means that ISB will advocate for that. So there's a lot of layers, and I know I didn't have that clear when I first did this. So I wanted to highlight that. I thought there was one other piece, but next month, and again, Dr. K, Dr. Jogi, you will share the results, and we can send these to you ahead of time, correct?
Oh, yes, thank you so much for that.
And then when we when we get to next month, we'll have the opportunity to review those, and if needed, discuss any. I mean, if we're aligned and there's
Yeah.
my recollection is last year, if a member wanted to call out a specific, like item 5,
Yes.
just to talk about it, we could. We didn't necessarily go through all of them. Is that Is that your
Yeah, no, thank
recollection?
you so much for bringing it up. Yeah, I would, what we did is individually, you sent these to me and I tallied it up. And then this was after November's board meeting where I tallied it up because this will be kind of like policy committee where we've kind of gone over it in a little bit detail right now. And then you folks will individually look at it with more detail. And at the November 11th meeting, you'll come back with any questions you may have. And then at that meeting, we'll answer any questions you may have and so forth. We can have a discussion about it a little bit more. And at that meeting, you can either hand me your forms, or I'll bug you for them later on. And then I'll tally them up, and I will also put it on Diligent, so you'll have a record of it as to how I'm voting with one voice for our board. How does that sound, Mr. President?
Well, I guess we can talk offline. Yeah. My recollection is that you had it prepared because we were getting to certain people like, hey, we need to know.
Yeah, we do.
So just so that and then it later went online. And I think because the board wanted to have awareness before, because we're gonna take an action item where we empower you. And I
Yeah.
think the board would like to know
How I'm
at
gonna
that
vote.
moment.
Yeah, I would, I guess,
But-
I guess you could, I think that's, I want to allow for some flexibility. So I
Sure.
guess we should give this to me, say, a week before. So maybe let's keep the date as like November 1st, where you send these to me, with the idea that, hey, you're able to change it if on November 11th you want to go into some discussion, say, and then Deb decides, hey, you know what, actually, for number one, now that I've heard some questions, I want to change my vote. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
So if you all send me your tallies by November 1st, so I'll have like the draft tally done by the November 11th board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Dr. Kay. We kind of hijacked your report. Thank you.
I do, like, another point that I want to bring up, like, as you're thinking through this, you're right, like the Cliff Notes do make a difference here, and I like the way that they've done it, is like, for instance, item number 2 is Delegate Assembly and Annual Conference, and that's come up a lot for different, especially our rural communities, because remember, ISB is across the state of Illinois, and we're in Arlington Heights with no traffic, we're 30 minutes to downtown Chicago. And so many of us in the surrounding Chicagoland area are able to make it to III and have a vote at the delegate assembly. But then there's there are districts that are not as well funded who could be super far from Chicago, and they're not able to send a delegate because they may not be able to afford the journey up there, the hotel, and so forth. So then there's this ask of making it kind of a hybrid voting system. So just kind of read all the blue things, and I think your ideas here are going to be really important. So November 1st. I'll be messaging you on Halloween.
Can I make a recommendation on the date?
Yes,
Because I heard you say a week before.
yes.
So we could consider that to be the Tuesday, the 4th, which would
Okay.
give people time after Halloween, and we could do a reminder after Halloween to make sure they complete it.
Okay. November 4th.
It would be a day after Brian Cerniglia's birthday,
Okay,
so an easy thing for us to remember.
yes.
That allows us then, it's a full week before the 11th.
Okay, sounds good. And I apologize, we should have figured out the dates beforehand. So a day after Brian's birthday.
Day after Brian's birthday, yeah, you'll see the reminder. And I also wanted to comment on, while the blue notes are highlighting the benefits of why they're saying do adopt, I appreciate your comment about read this critically on how this could benefit all of the people throughout the state. While we want to read it for our lens, but you also need to be critical of how does this support or benefit all members throughout the state. So I appreciate your comment about be critical when you read this.
Yeah.
So thank you. That completes the comments about the IASB resolutions. And then my last section, D, is on the second reading of policies for Press 119. It is an action item for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. K. And so can we have a motion, please? Yes, Kevin.
There we go. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the policies and exhibits as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. And Dr. K, are there any changes from the first reading last month?
Thanks for asking. There are no changes to the policies in Press 119 from last month.
Okay, and then any questions before we move forward with the vote? All right, seeing none, Lana, when you're ready, please.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana and Dr. K. The motion carries 7-0, and your report? Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. We've arrived at the second community input section of the agenda, and I'm hearing that we do not have a blue slip, or any blue slips, so we will continue on. We are at the future agenda items section of the meeting. This is an opportunity for board members to suggest new topics, typically previously discussed with Dr. K. Are there any to bring forward this month? Okay. Well, seeing none, the board does need to return to closed session to continue working on the same topics we announced earlier for closed session. The board cannot take any action during closed session, and we will not be taking any action when we return to open session afterwards. Can I have a motion to adjourn open session and return to close, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that we adjourn open session and resume closed session to discuss the aforementioned topics.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. Lana, could you please call the roll?
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato.
Yes. And thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0, and thank you, everyone here tonight. Maybe we'll see you next month.